Hey APL and Gustavo. Daniel. Don't normally see you here, Daniel. So I better magnetize this tip. I was losing my screws on the bench top there. Thought I'd have a service at a bit of an odd hour. See what fresh fish we can catch. Tom, Lars, Pedro, how's it going? Mr. Marrow, supposedly liquid damage, eh? Doesn't look much like it. Still, only takes one bad spot. But I gotta say, this is pretty damn pristine. I might have confused it with another job. It's like never been opened. It's a 165 board. $325. Come on. Okay. Hey Barry. It's actually pretty damn hot in here already. We're not even in summer yet. It's hot. Someone remind me to take the battery out. See what we get on the MagSafe. So power on. Fan spin, normal current, bong, blinking light. Just gonna wait for the folder. The folder should come up. Oh, we're just gonna have to take the board out and have a look, see what's on the other side. Quite pristine otherwise. Maybe it's got no backlight or something. Shoot. Definitely gonna have no backlight if I keep doing that. We'll boot it up to my USB stick. Oh, hello. Alright. So we've inadvertently perhaps found the fault in the sense that it won't unless that battery is flat. So many possible causes. Could be the battery's flat. AJ, Cormac. Alright, so we bonged, but we don't seem to have any... No, I'm just going to take this out. Something is a little bit squirrely. Hey Phuket. No corrosion there. No corrosion there. This is going to have to be on the back side. Hey, Adam. Christian. Connector's all clean there. Hectic. It's always interesting when you get a very pristine machine like this, but it's being listed as liquid damage, so you do start to wonder when the great big juicy surprise is going to appear. You also wonder perhaps if it was mistakenly packed instead of another machine. Hey Sonia, Maxi. Yeah, Sonia, it's just late in the afternoon, 5:15 here in the afternoon. I'm actually a little behind schedule. Got a bunch of machines I need to get fixed and I'm behind schedule. It's lurking, yes it is indeed. By the way, anyone in Australia have a lifeboat recovery module? Kind of seeing if anyone has one that I can either buy or loan. Absolutely pristine there too. Okay, this has got to be a different fault altogether. This machine is downright near immaculate. So I'm thinking that because it was two machines that were shipped to me, that this one possibly actually has a different fault. Yeah, it could be a bad battery pack. We'll go over it with the microscope and have a look, just in case. I'm gonna make the air conditioner a bit cooler. Headtech, it's more a case of people just send them in if they have been. I mean, with PCs, they get liquid damage as well, but nobody bothers to send them in to be repaired. It's a case of, oh well, destroyed my PC, toss it out, get a new one for $450. Yeah, nobody really bothers to repair them. So I would say that the devices I get here are not representative of what happens overall in the population of MacBooks. Kind of like being a doctor and thinking that everybody in the world must be sick because that's all I ever see here. If you get my drift. Wow, this is truly pristine. Check that backlight fuse. You might have a shorter backlight drive. Do you have any thoughts on how to repair water damaged mechanical keyboard? Yeah, beer spill, yuck. Yeah, just gonna have to replace all the keys that are tainted, aren't you? You could try ultrasonic it might work. Okay, that's good. that's not shorted there. I'm just going to test the screen with it plugged in, see if we get a short circuit or something on the once the screen's connected. Because yeah, this is pretty pristine. No, no short. Pull mirror, I'm going to guess that the other one then will be the liquid damage one. It's a little bit terrifying when you can't find anything particularly obvious. We'll put this mainboard into my own test chassis, see what happens. Always a good reason to have a working spare. And then you can test whether you got keyboard issue or screen issue, all sorts of things. We'll use their crossflex. Crazy J, I think I'll pass on that. Reballing without a stencil. I've been watching the videos today that have been posted on the various groups. I mean, can you do it? Yes. Do you want to do it? No. Yeah, I know I haven't got the fan in there. It's intentional. Paul, there isn't a second description. It was just liquid damage on both. As in, there was one description, liquid damage, and that was it. There might have been an earlier description and I missed it, if it was, say, like through email or something. What's going on here? Alright, so we know the board seems to be functional. So now we go through and we'll try various things on the other one. That's the way it goes. It's probably going to turn out to be, I don't know, hopefully it's a keyboard fault. Because if it's a screen fault, well, that's going to be rather unfortunate. I can see the screen energizing, but that's about it. So what I can do here is, instead of plugging the keyboard and trackpad in, I'll just leave them out, plug the screen in, plug in the boot disk, or USB stick rather, and then see if it eventually comes up with a boot. And then if that works, we'll plug the keyboard and mouse in and we'll see how that goes. Bit by bit. Maxi, you can sort of indirectly do it by leaving them disconnected. So, testing by omission. Hey, Ruslan, how are you? Wow, you're really not getting cool in here. Come on. Hey, Wayne. Yeah, pyramid reballing is no fun at all. Yeah, Vera kits are hard already. That's pretty good going. Nope, screen's good. Yeah, the currents are good, screen's good. Do you have any continuous integration set up for your software? How do you build release versions, same machine separately from it? For Open Board View, we do have CI activated. For Flexboard View, I wanted to get into it, but what was it? Is it Tom CI or Travis? Yeah, Travis CI. The commercial rates for their system were just, it was too expensive. The very limited amount of times that I do a rebuild for all the platforms and the amount they want per month for that is, I can't justify it. Not yet. Okay, so that's fine. Let's plug the keyboard in and see what happens. Actually, let's plug the trackpad in and see what happens. Let's disconnect the keyboard. Okay, keyboard is disconnected. Trackpad is connected. AJ, it was 37 here today, so it's a little hefty. With the Maxi, with the keyboard, and what happens is the single cable goes to the trackpad, and then the trackpad connects to the keyboard. So I can, at this point, I've disconnected the keyboard flex, which is this one here, and we're seeing if we can get a boot. If we get a boot, then we'll plug in. Okay, so we've got a boot. So we'll then plug in the key. I'm just going to disconnect it anyway. So we'll plug that keyboard back in, which is actually hellishly annoying. I don't know why they did it this way. Some design choices I can appreciate, some I have no clue. Okay, it's down. It's going to be funny if this works too. I got the bong. So it should have brought up the devices now. So either, I would say what's happening is the keys aren't responding. Like I'm holding down the option key. I have a feeling this in a minute or two will boot through normally. So it's basically a keyboard fault. Question is it this keyboard that's faulty? Yeah, there you go, there's the boot. Is it the keyboard at fault, or is it the controller on the board that's at fault? I have a 1398 2015 separate. Yes. Oh wait, the 1398. I think even though they're physically separate, they do still channel through each other. I can't remember now. It's our little 1502 does that. I can't remember. But certainly just try disconnect one and then try the other. Is that a... Oh, it's on my screen. So trackpad works. So this could be the liquid damage. It could be that something got into the keyboard, didn't get through the keyboard. Okay, keyboard tester. Yep, there we go. So we can see that left control, left shift, left alt. Oh, that does work. Son of a gun. Okay, now all of a sudden they're working. Okay, this one's doing something. See how it's just doing quirky stuff all on its own? So in these particular instances, I actually load up the keyboard tester without a map. What? Something's... See, I'm trying to hit backspace and it's mapping it to something else. Shut down. Shut down. Gummy bear syndrome? What's that? How's the split Queensland half movement going? Yeah, they try that. They've been trying that since the late 80s, probably longer. And even if they get happy with splitting the state, so half the driving thing is that they feel that North Queensland produces most of the income for the whole state, because they feel like, well, we're digging out all the coal and the minerals and the gold and all that sort of stuff. But I think they'd be terrified if they actually realised that the southeast corner does produce a lot more money than what they give it credit for. And the next thing that would be a fighting point is the fact that Townsville would likely have to become the capital of North Queensland. And that would upset all the people in Cairns, and it would upset all the people in Rockhampton. So, you know, we'd have ourselves a little mini civil war over that. So all this joy and happiness of getting the state split would be very short-lived. They'll be a little bit deluded as to the actual true wealth of the North without also the assistance of the South. Alright, so yeah, I'd say keyboard. I had 100% confirmed that though. Plug it back in the other chassis. We'll also use the flex just in case. I know it's a bit protracted and a bit slow and a bit boring, but you do have to sort of do this to eliminate. This is the whole process of elimination. And if you don't do this, you may get away with it many times, but sooner or later you're going to not bother with it, and you're going to get something wrong. You're going to quote someone something far too cheap for what you really needs to be paid, and then it's going to come out of your pocket. Or you're going to have a very cranky customer. Or worse, you bill them for something that they didn't need replacing. They find out later, one way or another. And then you get yourself a nice cranky customer asking why you charged them $300 for a replacement flex. Now I understand, of course, that there is a certain degree of skill required in locating the right thing to replace, but that's kind of getting a little bit disproportionate. Hey Nick. Oh, Eric's here. How's it going, Eric? Eric, I think it's a group of people that feel sort of like they've been unfairly... Well, the option key just worked there, so it's a good starting sign. They feel unfairly as if they're living in poverty while everyone else is getting rich on the back of their what they do. So I think that's where a lot of it comes from. Still no SMDs arrived in Australia. Yeah, I had that with my Flux. I got in a whole bunch of Amtech Flux, and it sat in Perth for about 2 weeks. Hey, Devon Booker. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should probably clean this screen. It's a little bit filthy. Yeah, it's all good. It shouldn't have come through Perth, but I think what happened is it spent a month sitting in Miami, and I think they just took whatever flight was available to Australia, and that's how it ended up in Perth rather than Sydney. What's that? Something about the bottom warped up? Was the bottom warped up? Don't think so. Anyway, that was my test. Hey, Milan. It looks like Bender from Futurama is here, masquerading as Ben Kasky. Do you ever have writer's block in hardware, software jobs? Oh, all the time, yeah. Particularly with coding. I think the most common issue I run into now with coding is when I know what I have to do, but I also know that it's going to be a bit of a long, arduous process, and so I just sit there and ignore the fact that I have to do it for quite a while, rather than just getting in and starting the coding, to get it underway. I find the best way to counter that is typically to code in such a way that you can have milestones, compiling and running milestones very frequently. It's like if you're going to have to write 10,000 lines of code and you're not going to know if you're getting there until you've done 10,000 lines of code, then it's quite difficult to get yourself up into that mood. But if you can test it within, say, 1,000 lines of code, then it's more likely that you're going to keep going. You're going to get those happy milestones. It's not the most efficient way of coding in theory, but I think in terms of dealing with natural human tendencies, it's the better route to take. There are, of course, the exceptional humans, which aren't humans, and they seem to be able to just code like that all day. Hell if I know how. Robots. But yeah, when you get... For most people, it's nice to have the periodic rewards. And use the cat, you use it. I think it's where it's nice when you work for yourself, is that you can determine, like, okay, I am not the sort that works well coding with this particular coding system, so workflow model. So I'm going to go and take a different route. It's a 1360. Oh, good on you, mate. Good on ya. So at least, yeah, you get to pick and choose what suits you best. Whereas when you go into a group workflow situation, your personal choice tends to, well, you don't get to have it. At least GitHub does tend to encourage you to be the update and test often type personality. Need a connector on that. Why don't I seem to have a trackpad here? Could have sworn I bought about 5 of them the other week. But clearly not, because they're not in here, which means they're not there. Oh, there you are. I knew I had one around somewhere. You watch, this is probably faulty. It's probably got liquid damage on it or something. Come on, tell me you have liquid damage. I'm suspicious of this, in all honesty. I mean, why would I have a trackpad just lying around? It's got a little bit of grunge on it. It's got no markings on it. Strong reason to be suspicious. Okay, now this is a 1369. Different connector. Yeah, I don't trust. Barry, I thought I did. Yeah, I did. I responded to Ruslin's comment. He's the one I'm talking about with the software. Alright, it's going to be easy. Instead of replacing that trackpad, it's going to be easy for me to just put in what we're going to believe is the replacement keyboard. Let's see if that misbehaves. At least we can test this fairly quickly. We just have to hold down the option key basically and see if it boots. Yeah, it'll right the first time. It's okay, Barry. But I appreciate that you're looking out, you know, because I certainly wouldn't want to miss replying back to someone's contribution. Easy enough to happen too. Once it goes off that page, that's it. It's gone. Out of mind, out of sight, or what is it? Out of sight, out of mind. One of those. Have I been writing 300 on these? That's crazy. It's actually meant to be 325, but yep, right 300 on Paul. That's really the job number. It was last night's job number, I think, or one of them. The reason why I have to resort to using a pen to write down the numbers is because, you know, I have my label printer and I've already got 2 label printers. I've got one for doing shipping labels and I've got one for doing these job labels. I really don't want to have a 3rd label machine, and the other problem is yeah, I'd kind of need like a 2x3. Like if I was just to do little barcodes or just numbers, then I'd want probably, like six individual stickers in this area. And I don't think I can find one of those with Dymo labels, so yeah. And of course, like I said, it'd be yet another printer on my desk. Okay, so we want the Option key, and hopefully it will boot. If it does, we know we're good. Need that crossover flex. Do the possums manage to get... Oh yeah, they had no trouble getting out. Honestly, they're just being lazy little bastards. Okay, so the Option key works. So that's good. It is the keyboard at fault. Trackpad is fine. Oh, it was a bit of a long, protracted process, wasn't it? Just to come down to deciding that the keyboard is faulty. Oh yeah, the Lewis Rossman cannot be removed labels. Was it actually a difficult to remove label, or was it just the person having a bad day? Because I know these Dymo labels, they can be problematic to remove if they've been on there for more than a week or two. They just seem to get extra well bonded to the system. For these, I do like to remove the screen. I just feel safer with the screen removed, given the amount of force and the fact that there's rivets flying everywhere. It can be very easy to end up with one of those rivets sitting between the keyboard deck and the glass of the LCD panel, and you put a bit of pressure on the chassis by accident, and then that's it. You have a bad day. Hey pal. I wouldn't say the speakers are glued down, they're just two-sided tape on them, that's all. Damn it. To clear away as much as I can before we embark on this mysterious journey. Barry, yeah, well with this is a... I mean, consider this, they were already going to be up for the standard board repair price, but in this case it's actually going to be a cheaper keyboard replacement. So they kind of win out in this case. Some of these come up easy, some of them do not. You just got to get it started. It's not so bad after that. If you don't gently start it, then you do tend to get a bit of a tearing problem. Now I need the standard technician's bench vise. There we go. That should do it. Okay, what I want to do is, I actually don't want to peel the backlight section off layer. I want to grab the layer underneath it. Oh, which is actually the backlight, but anyway, I digress. 250. Maximum power. Burn your fingers for the first bit. So who doesn't like a bit of sadomasochism? Not me. The battery puts just enough sort of loading on the whole assembly so that I'm not going to do any damage by pulling up too hard. There we go. But it gives me enough that when it's ready, it'll come off on its own. Sometimes you can see the damage on the... Sometimes you can't. Right. Oh, sorry folks, just noticed the camera got knocked by my oversized noggin. So first thing you do is you get rid of all these itty bitty screws on the perimeter. You do need to save them. If you don't save them, you can get the ones that you can buy in packs of 100. But I do prefer to save the perimeter ones to put back into the perimeter. I'm sure they're slightly better quality. Compared to... ah yeah, I can see the liquid damage there, right there. Yeah, rivets in the middle. Yeah, you can see the liquid there. So it wasn't a lot, but it's obviously enough. I'm glad to see that though. You know how I am, I do like to find my smoking guns. Yeah, the more I look now I can see it's all just in this region here, which corresponds to all there. Hey, Kopaz, how's it going? You're up a little early, my friend. Don't you miss doing this? Did you ever get to do screen replacement? Keyboard replacements? Was that forbidden? Yeah, it looks like I did leave off a little bit there. That's not good. Do you alcohol it? No. You mean to get that black plastic off? No, it's just heat, that's all. So if you can get it started at one edge, or for right-handed people, probably this side, and then just use 250 centigrade on the hot air station and full speed. So it heats up the glue that's holding it down onto this part, and then it just peels away. You don't want to go too much higher, else you will distort the plastic though. So 250, patience, and away you go. Now it's kind of crazy how many screws we just had to do there, and that is just the perimeter. Okie dokie. Now comes the fun part. This is the rivets. You be careful when you're doing this. It's very easy to cut yourself. Once you get the first couple going, it's alright. I find usually this one's actually particularly tough. Some of them will just easily come out. Others can be a fight. This one's been a fight. Yeah, what will happen if you slip these edges, they'll just go right through your webbing. You have been warned. The way this one's coming out means there's going to be a lot of rivets stuck in it. Yeah. Because it's done tough. Yeah, I'd say almost all of those rivets stayed in. Damn, that's going to be a pain. So the only thing we really managed to move were all the rivet rings, not the rivets. Okay, so this is going to be a fun one. And by fun, I mean not fun. To get these out, we use side snips. And I have at least managed to come up with a technique for it, but yeah, that is the complete opposite of what I really like. Crap. That is basically every single rivet is still in there. It is really bad. Okie doke. Here we go. Yeah, so we've got one or two actually out and the rest. I found that if you grip, distort, twist, and then it should just tilt out like that. You won't get every single one of them, but most of them should be good. The key thing is there to get that distortion and then twisting. Some of them are just going to be a pain. So, please stand by while we proceed to do this about 100 times. Ah, that's a goner. That'll be a drill job. Peter, I charged about 132 an hour. Well, not about. I do charge 132 an hour. It's definitely one of those things where the more you practice, the better you get at it. And also, don't change your tool too often. Definitely a case of you really have to know your tool. Get used to it. Know when you're going to bite too much like that. Actually, I didn't bite in enough. That was the problem. But yeah, if you're used to your tool, you know how to use it to best effect. Get that rivet right out of that hole. Nice, quick and easy with minimal damage. Someone got a little carefree there. Alright. Some of them you're just gonna have to accept you're gonna have to drill out. Yeah. Sort of jumped in a little bit too quickly there. Didn't give it a chance for the rivet to naturally work its way out. That one just fell out. That one was ready and waiting for me. So it's not the most fun job, but you can still knock out a keyboard replacement realistically in an hour. I know I am occasionally knocking off the aluminium on the other side a little bit. Par for the course, really. To be fair, this is actually faster than screwing. We're almost done. Just got a couple to see if we can get out with the pliers before we have to resign ourselves to accept that we're going to have to drill them. Peter, I would hazard to say that unless you've got a really high-end CNC machine, it's fast to just rip them out this way. What would be good though is if I had a nice small size drill press. I've got a big drill press in the workshop, but it would probably chew up half of this keyboard before I even knew what I was doing. Certainly it's got a taste of my blood, that's for sure. Damn thing. Drill presses and fresh, shiny, new, super sharp, high-speed steel half-inch drill bits are not a good combination with morons like me. There was a lot of blood that day, a lot of excitement, a lot of screaming, a lot of anxious, waiting moments, wondering when I take my hand away from this painful feeling, will I have a finger left? And then the joy and elation when you discover that you haven't completely destroyed your hand. It's pretty much a daily workshop excitement for most people who work in that industry, I dare say. We do have pretty easy here in the computer repair workshops. You don't face the dangers that blacksmiths and metal workers have to deal with, or carpenters for that matter. Oh, it looks like I must have missed a whole row or something. Okay, there. Okay, don't know if we're going to get that one out without a drill. Let's see how we go. We try complete opposite. No. Felt that coming. Some people do leave those there. I can't really... What? How many of these did I miss? Yeah, I know. Almost knocked that out. Yeah, there is a fair bit of debris to clean up afterwards. Aha, that was lucky. Looks like we've just got the one to drill out. Now I've got to find it. Normally I mark them red when I botch them up, but I didn't this time. There we go. Okay, drill bit. 0.8, 0.9. Sometimes you can get away with 1 millimeter. Let's see. We've got 0.8. No 0.8 or what is that? 20 thou? I think 0.8, 20 thou? No. 0.5 is 20 thou. Damn it, it made me lose the spot. Oh, there it is. Sometimes if you're lucky you can actually partially drill through and then you can use the hole to pivot out the rest of the rivet. So I'm just going to go in at an angle. I might get lucky here. It's preferable to get that sort of solution rather than drilling out to the walls, because almost every single time that you got to drill all the way to the wall, the screw never goes in properly. Okay, I've gone through, so I can just get that out with the tweezer tip or something. There we go. Bravo. Yep, that's good. .8 to 40 thou, 80% of 40 thou. Four eighths, 24 thou. Is that right? Why do I keep thinking? No, it should be 36 thou. Yeah, 36 thou. No, wrong again. 314. Pi thou. Looks like Paul should not do math today. Paul is not capable of math, it seems. Yeah, there's metal bits all over here, but get those perimeter ones on. Wrong box. I have seen some people who only put in like every second screw where the rivets were, and it's like, don't do that. Do it properly. If you're not going to do it properly, don't do it. You've got to put every screw, every rivet back in. If you don't, your customer, if your customer is a half reasonable typist, they will know, they will feel it. It'll be like the pee in the mattress, 11 mattresses down, and the princess is going to notice it, and that's going to be Princess Karen, and she's going to come for your head. Always assume that you are going to do this for Princess Karen. Hey Roger Dodger. Hey ITC. You gonna watch the SN8? When's that? How long have I got, Robert? Normally I gotta admit with those, I just tend to wait till it's happened, and then I watch the highlight. The launches, on the other hand, of course I do watch. I am looking forward to their 15-kilometer launch. I think that is going to be a spectacular event. Hopefully it all goes well. To be honest, I was kind of expecting it this week, but it seems like there were some delays. Yeah, there's a lot of small screws. It's a good 100 or so, I suppose. At least the perimeter ones are easy enough because they're already threaded, so you don't have to apply any special force. Nothing, yeah, they just do their job. You know, the thread's already there in the metal frame. But yeah, when you go to put them into the rivet holes, that's a different story. The annoying thing is that you get all of these perimeter ones done, you think, yay, I'm done, and then you realise, oh no, wait, I've still got all the inner rivet ones to do. It's definitely the sort of job that you give to someone, I don't know, work experience or something like that. And if you do give it to a work experience person, expect on their report to the school that you made them do rather boring, arduous work that didn't seem to have anything at all to do with the repairing of MacBooks, because naturally the work experienced people are going to expect that they're going to have full access to the hot air station and the latest MacBooks or whatever. But no. I mean, let's be real, this is predominantly the reality of workshop work, where you do this sort of stuff when there's yeah, it's what 90% of your workday is. Not doing the exciting things. You're almost always doing something you really would rather not be doing, but it's earning you $1, so you're happy. That's what Lewis has assembly people. Yeah, well, you see, if you get to become a more advanced and larger business, then yes, you move away from doing this sort of stuff yourself, and you move into even more frustrating, boring things like dealing with unhappy customers, or dealing with suppliers, or dealing with licensing people, or dealing with pretty much everything except dealing with board repair still. I've got one screw missing. Still attached. Nope. I don't like that I've got one screw missing. One. It's disappointing. We're dealing with sushi. Sushi is the magical stuff that makes board repair just happen. Well, I can only imagine I lost that one when I was unscrewing them and must have just like flown off to the side. Sometimes it can happen, they'll just spontaneously detach from the magnet. The centripetal force is simply too much. Or too little, rather. I don't think that's a defect by me, I think that's... Let's put some liquid damage in the keyboard. Yeah, that was just grime from another time. Not me. Just missed it, looked like it went well. Well, I suppose, Robert, if there's no smoking crater, then you're right, it probably went well. Now we start the part that we really don't like. Welcome back, Christian. Alright, now I need some screws. Some MacBook keyboard screws. I should at least have another 100 or 200 of them spare somewhere. That's why you always test a keyboard for installing it. Yeah. Come on, I know you're in here somewhere. There you are. Yeah. I think I need to order about, I don't know, 10,000 from AliExpress or something. It's probably enough. Let's put that to the side for the moment. Abdullah is just liquid damage, that's all. Nothing exciting, just plain old liquid damage. And this is where you work out your division of spatial distances to make sure you try and evenly spread the load. Well, rather, not so much the load, the distortions. So you don't end up with a bulging keyboard in one region. So you basically just go along and subdivide the areas best you can. It's not overly even, but as long as you get it reasonably close. Because what will happen otherwise, if you say start at the top and just do the screws all the way down here, by the time you get down here you'll probably end up with some sort of distortion. It won't be bad. Fortunately, I mean, that is half the point of having all of these screws here. That you sort of reset that offset quite periodically. But it doesn't hurt to still help it. Once you've put about a dozen in, you can then go along and do whatever pattern you like. Ah, sometimes they just don't want to go in properly. I do find if you back turn or reverse turn the screw a bit, it does help it go back in, probably because you're grinding a bit of a chamfer into the aluminium frame, and it helps guide the screw in. I'm not going to disassemble it just to find out. What size screw? I don't know what the size is, but you do just get them on eBay and AliExpress. If you just simply look up Macbook A1466 keyboard screws, and they'll typically sell them in lots of 100. If you do this periodically, buy yourself 5 bags of them or something like that. You're always going to run out before you're ready to run out. Damn it. Yeah, you do not want screws going down into the keys. Not yet. Reminds me we've still got that one perimeter screw that we haven't done. We'll put that in now. That's good. No, you did not go down properly. There you go. This does take a while, and you probably want to have something interesting going on in your head while you do this. Good reason to have some good music or something. Can a computer break if it has too many RAMs? I don't know. Maybe if the power supply can't keep up with the power demands, then yeah. Although that'd be somewhat strange. We're getting there, we're getting there. Patience supposedly is a virtue. No, you did not align properly. There you go. Would be a lot easier if the screws magically aligned onto the tip straight away. Like if you just hovered over it and they magically went straight onto the tip. No such luck. Come on. Gee, I hope the next one's not a keyboard replacement. Teresa? It's probably an ideal stream for people who like things like accounting. Though admittingly, it's probably like 50 times more interesting than accounting. It's very dull indeed. Sorry, Ken, what was that about the retina? You have that retina display now. My mind is a blank on me. Can you give me the context again? Sorry, Ken. Looking for a retina display on my MacBook Personal 2013. A retina? So what, that would be... But you got the early 1502 or the 1425? Hope for your sake it's 1502. Hey RDP. Sometimes they hide a screw under there and I just wanted to check. Alright, I think that's everything. Hope it's everything. Should be 1425. Yeah. Hey Panov, how's it going? Feels good. Hey Paul Shaw from Tassie, how's it going down there? Doomis, Tasmania. Lovely place. Nice cool weather, beautiful landscape. Everything's nice about Tasmania. The missing screw, I already put that one in. Or rather, I should say, I put a replacement in. You're looking for some slightly warmer weather. You can take some of ours because we hit 37 today. And it's baking through the roof. It's already very uncomfortable. Most unpleasant up here. Why do I do that every time? Speaker goes over. Okay. Cues, that's a surprise for later. You don't want me to spoil the surprise, do you? Yep, idiots in their cars. Remember to route the camera over and then under, not under then over. Got a lot of camera cables where they've sort of tucked it under the DC inboard and then pop it back up. So that's not how it goes. Remember to stick the shroud on, the rubber shroud. If you do not stick the rubber shroud on, you will then have a crisis of conscience later. You just sit there and think, should I pull it all back apart again just to stick the stinking shroud on it? And then you'll tell yourself, it doesn't do anything anyway. It's just a waste of space. But then you go, but I really should because it was there when it came in. And I'll know forevermore that it was me that didn't put that shroud back on. Trolls are busy, eh? They must have just woken up in the UK. Nothing much else to do if you're from the UK. Yeah, I deserved my own punishment here. Yep, Gecko agrees. It's laughing at me. I'm supposed to put the Wi-Fi flex in first. Get it in its channel. Alright, there we go. So how many screws should I put back into this before I consider it safe enough to test? What's the risk trade-off? I think 2 will do just nicely. Keyboard in. Backlight. Speaker. Screen. Fan. Lift up the DC inboard a little bit. Push these cables down and they'll push back under the DC inboard a little bit. Then I can clamp it down. Hey, Blues Pinewood. Nope, no, I'm sure Lewis Rossman never talks about me. If Lewis Rossman did talk about me, it'd probably be in loving tones, whereas I hear he yells at the other Paul Daniels a lot. Calls him all sorts of hurtful names like Australian or stuff like that. And worse of all is he deliberately leaves out letters in words. So he sounds funny. He's like, Kulu, Unu. You know, there's no U in the stuff. That's why they've gone to hell, because there's no U in honor over there anymore. So no one has any honor. So has someone else's honor. Someone else has to be honorable, not me. Alright, let's see if we have wasted the last hour. I'm sure there's a few people here hoping that I did. Sick people, just sick. Oh, thank you, Noosa. Thank you for the extra U. I'm not hearing a bong. I wonder why I didn't hear a bong. Come on, don't be difficult. Yeah, I did plug in the speakers. That, I don't know if you saw that, but that transition to brightness was a little bit sluggish. You could almost see the steps in it. Things like that concern me, because it usually means something else is not playing the right game somewhere. It could be just because I don't have a battery in. Okay, we have no speaker, which means that probably the crossover cable is not working right. So we'll shut back down, check our crossover flex. I probably didn't plug it in quite right. There's a freaking rivet. Yeah, it's not plugged in quite right. Yeah, I didn't plug it in at all. Well, who was responsible for quality assurance there? You're fired. Plug the battery in as well. That way I can get a much better idea. There was an interesting point though, is that yes, you can boot these machines up without that flat flex. It just results in a whole lot of weird stuff. We assign that to one of the trolls, or they'll explain it, won't it? That's a good way of deflecting responsibility. Assign it to someone you kicked off the workforce. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Ooh, look. Honestly, I think I'm just going to have to put in that gaming name band again. There, you saw the transition that time was not slow. It was a proper smooth transition. And David Arwell. And lo and behold, we have a speaker symbol now. Sending some Morse code. Time to keyboard test. Can't really say Morse code that way, unless you consider the spaces as being the actual information container, in which case it's probably referred to as Python Morse code, since white space all of a sudden is important in that language. Escape, caps, all working. Yeah, Jim's probably missed it, but there'll probably be more later. Okay, the next thing we've got to watch here is the charging. Now that it's all plugged in and everything, we've noticed we've got 0% on the battery. Now, the charge rate is going up. We're sitting at about 700 at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully it will come good. Sometimes it can take up to 5 or 6 minutes before the battery really starts to decide that it wants to get charged. The other possibility is the battery is damaged from liquid damage, though I didn't see anything on that battery, not that that counts for much. When you're down at the 0-1% area, the charge controller is very cautious about sending power to you. It just sends little sips at a time. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, precise step turn off. I think the longest I've ever had one take was around about the 10-minute mark before it came good. It was an old battery. It was, probably hadn't been charged for quite a while. But it did come back, but it was 10 minutes before I saw that charge rate pick up. I did put the battery in. You can tell because it actually is showing that it's charging. You can't see it, but it is showing that it's charging, as in it's 0% and it's got a lightning bolt through it. So can I let go of this, or is it going to fall back? Okay, I can let go of that. I need to take my gloves off. My gloves are... Oof. Ah, I've got wrinkly old man hands now from being in the gloves too long. Let them air out a bit. Put them up into the air conditioning vent. Ah, that feels nice. Come on, Pernov. Click some likes or send some prayers and make the battery charge faster. Ah, come on. Oh, that feels nice. Nice, cool air conditioning on perspired hands. Oh, that's good. Ah. Hey, John, welcome back. Just leave it aside and see if it picked up after an hour. Oh, it's picked up. It's picking up. It's at 700 now. It's on its way. It's heading there, Pernov. You must have did your prayers right. Saw it go to 7. Once it starts moving, it's pretty quick to get over the 1 amp mark. Have you ever had that beep sound stop working before? It happened on my 2015 Pro. System worked fine, but despite playing around with the enable option, could not get it back. I've had it lag before, but I actually haven't had it disappear. I'm presuming that all the other sounds work okay. It's playing silly buggers with me. Fur baby's good. Let's see. Still got the 6 kittens and the mother. 4 of the kittens will probably go to the rescue service next week, and then we'll hold 2 of them for another week or 2, just to try and... They're a little bit feisty in the wrong kind of way. They tend to... They're not feral, but they could do with a little bit more customization to humans. So we'll probably hold on to them for another week or 2, and also so that we don't just suddenly take all the kittens away and the mother is then running around with a full load of milk with no kittens, and that could cause its own complications. It's actually taken longer than normal to pick up after... Once it usually goes from the 600 to 700, it's fairly quick thereafter, but this one's obviously taken a different route. You can see the wattage has gone from 10 watts... Oh, you can't see. I should actually put a wattage indication on the screen. But on the power supply, when it's dead flat, it starts out at about the 10 watt mark, where now it's around about the 10-13 mark. 12-13. You need to constantly handle the kittens and bring them on stream. Yeah. I don't think I want to bring him in here. Queues, I don't think I'll be able to send any to... Not unless you move to Townsville and live there. I think... Okay, it's nearly 7 o'clock, so I've actually got to go get some dinner. So I think we'll just let this be. I'm pretty sure this battery is going to be okay. We'll let this be. I'm going to finish the stream, but then I'll probably be back this evening because I've still got a fair stack of machines to get done tonight. So it's going to be one of those long nights. We'll see how we go. 1 or 2 of them I may end up just doing offline, but I certainly have another 1466 that we can have a shot at. Big Sur announcement. I'm not... Yeah, I'm more excited about the SpaceX 15-kilometer launch, to be honest. Alright. Okay, so that is it for this moment. The keyboard works, that's what matters. It doesn't do any screwily weird things on the option key, and I'm fairly sure this battery will come good. We'll find out when I come back in a couple of hours. So until then, you all take care, and I'll see you later.